Shalawama, Shalawama. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Welcome, everybody. We're going to continue with Capricorn right now. So we're going to continue with Capricorn. We are on page number 79. Okay, so here's the book you want to get. This is the Gospel and the Zodiac. The Gospel and the Zodiac. Okay. We're going to continue with Capricorn on page 179. All right, page 179. Okay, so we're here. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of the video. All right, download it, print it, get it bound like this, or spiral bind, however you want, or staple it. All right, do whatever you can do for yourself. And give me 1 second, y'all. Let me check the connection here. 1 moment, please. Let me make sure we have a good connection. I don't see, let's see. I don't see a notification. Somebody put in the comment, here we go, let's see. All right. Let me make sure we have sound. Okay. I don't see. All right. Okay, so let's continue. We're good. So here we go. Give me 1 moment. So make sure you download the book, y'all. All right, make sure you download it, print it. Let's get started. This is Capricorn. Page 179. Let me get comfortable. All right. Capricorn's commitment to society also finds expression in terms of the tokens of success, which collectively we prize. This is the stage of accumulation, not as a protection against possible reversal of fortune, as in Cancer, but as a mark of achievement. So note scholars, what the author is doing, and I picked this up because I do it myself. The author is comparing one zodiac sign to the other. Now, why is this important? It's very important that you learn how to distinguish one thing from the other, okay? One thing from the other. This is a mark of a truly educated person, all right? I learned that in medicine. You must distinguish one thing from the other. That is an unbelievably important, practical skill that'll take you very, very far in life, not just in academics, but in life, when you learn how to distinguish one thing from the other, okay? So Capricorn's commitment to society also finds expression in terms of tokens of success, which collectively we prize. That might be fiat, might be whatever it is you're trying to get. It might be women, right? Trophies, women trophies. This is the stage of accumulation, not as a protection against reversal of fortune, right? In other words, you're not trying to accumulate fiat or money or women as a form of protection, but you're doing it for status, right? This is who I am, so to speak. Look at me, this is who I am. All right. Okay, so not as a protection against possible reversal of fortune, as in Cancer, but as a mark of achievement. In other words, your importance lies not within you, but outside of you, okay? Capricorn is the sign of the status symbol, the private parking space, the second home. It is the sign of rigid social divisions, of knowing's one place. England, with its, what is this? I don't know this word. Give me 1 second. Hold on, I gotta look this word up, y'all. I don't know it. Give me 1 moment. You should get in the habit. There ain't no shame in not knowing the meaning of a word, but you truly screw yourself over if you don't look it up, all right? Because you may miss the meaning. And you should develop the insight. The more educated you become, you'll begin to get a feel for when you need to look at the etymology immediately, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? But it is a discipline that will serve you well if you learn or develop the habit of looking words up that you don't know the meaning of. Or oftentimes, y'all, when you think you know the meaning of it, all right? Because I can guarantee you, for most of the words, probably 95% of the words, or 90, maybe even 98% of the words that you use on a daily basis, you don't know all of the meanings of that word, their nuances. I can assure you of that. Okay. Let me see if I can play this for y'all. All right. So ludicrous, so absurd or incongruous as to be laughable, foolish, adopted to excite laughter without scorn or contempt. Sportive, what is sportive? Ridiculously observed. Anyway, let's continue. Incongruity. All right, so let's continue. Let me find my spot. Hold on, y'all. I lost my spot. Give me 1 second. Let me get acclimated again. I just woke up, y'all. Give me a second. I just woke up. I'm on the other, for those of you who don't know, I'm on the other side of the world if you're watching in the States. I'm in Vietnam. So Vietnam, it's about 3:10, 3:15 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so let's continue. Capricorn is a sign of rigid social divisions, of knowing one's place. England, with its ludicrous social stratifications and its tradition of differential forelock tugging, is a heavily Capricornian country, as is caste-ridden India. Like Cancer, its polar opposite, Capricorn recognizes its debt to the past and finds solace in tradition, order, and continuity. It is the sign of the Father, our first authoritative symbol, who connects us with the past, who embodies all the accumulated wisdom of the race, and who teaches us the great Capricornian virtues of social responsibility and self-control. To me, that is reminiscent of Christianity and its morality. right? It's morality, it's belief and push that Christian morals are better than everybody else's morals, or Judeo-Christian morals are better than everybody else's morals, okay, and ethics. So this is why in the West, there's a big, big, big push discussion about ethics, all right, about ethics. The curious thing is that their ethics very often, if not most of the time, contradict their religious practice, all right? Contradict their religious practice. An example of that, let's say lifestyle. An example of a big lifestyle would be MLK. His lifestyle, if what they say about him on the FBI tapes are true, severely contradicts his Christian morality and his political, social, economic ethics. Y'all follow me? Christianity will always pull you into ethics, an ethical discussion, a moral discussion, and away from natural law. Y'all got it? And away from natural law. And this is the problem with Christianity, with all religions, all right? But I can speak best about Christianity because I was once a part of Christianity. Pulls you away from natural law. And there's nothing else to talk about but natural law, right? There's nothing else to talk about but natural law. Ethics, morality, well, that's waste of time type of stuff, all right? And I'll prove that to you. Y'all watch the videos that I'm gonna do, the video series that I'm doing on natural law, all right? The next two laws that I discuss will go into this, natural law versus man's law or ethics, okay? But to make it short, natural law is universal. It means it's uniform. Whereas ethics and morality, these are local in nature. And they come from men who may be deceivers or deceived. And it may come from conditions that are local, all right? But anyway, let's get back to it. Vesta, sometimes called Hestia, the Roman goddess of the hearth, was considered to be especially associated with Capricorn as its tutelary deity. Every newborn child was carried round the hearth as an initiation into the family. And each meal began and ended with an invocation to the goddess. That's a prayer, a request to the goddess. Every Roman city would have a great public hearth sacred to Vesta, tended by the visceral virgins who had to ensure on pain of death that the fire never went out. Coals from the hearth of the parent city would be carried to kindle a fire in the hearth of any newly founded city. I'm not sure where this is going. The hearth then symbolizes the family and the nation, the link between present and past, the role of the individual in the greater community, defined either spatially or temporally. That this should be associated with Capricorn serves to underline this sign's or serves to underline Capricorn's connection with lineage, centralized authority, convention, propriety, and social conformity. Let me think about this real quick, y'all. When we talk about family and nation, family is a bloodline, right? Family is a bloodline. In other words, there's a common ancestor. A nation is a family connected to a specific landmass with a common heritage, common culture, language, economy, so on and so forth. Y'all follow me? All right. The role of the individual in the greater community, defined either spatially or temporally. Spatially would be what, y'all? In my mind, that's saying the hierarchy of a society, right? The winners and the losers, okay? So we might, the classes in society, okay? The nobility, the haves and the have-nots, your station in life. So your status, right? Your status. We know that in the US, well, internationally, there's many different types of status, right? There's many types of status. So let's continue. Temporally would be of the earth. That Capricorn should be associated, well, that status should be associated with Capricorn. Y'all see where this is going? That status should be associated with Capricorn serves to underline Capricorn's connection with lineage, centralized authority. Now, this takes us back to what? Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2. You have the hybrids, the humans, color, see, colored man, colorable man, fake, fictitious man, mankind. Okay, mankind. In contradistinction to man and womb man. Right? Y'all got it? Genesis chapter 2, man and womb man are the natural heirs of the earth. Everything belongs to us. Whereas Genesis chapter 1, mankind, the created creature, has no right to inherit, cannot own land, although born from the womb of a woman. This is the lawful definition. A human is a monster. All right, now that's the lawful definition of the word. Y'all go look it up. I have a video on that. Search for that video on my YouTube channel here. Search for it, you'll see it. All right, by definition, you'll see it. So that connects, that should connect you with Genesis chapter 1 and the hybrid troglodyte Paleolithic nigger, right? So let's continue. When you have one hybrid coming in to escheat, to cheat and steal, take your birthright, tangible and intangible hereditaments, enslave you like cattle, Genesis chapter 1, right? Have rulership over everything moving upon the earth. Well, that would include Genesis chapter 2, man. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the video that I did on Genesis, all right? So this is a matter of what? Who's gonna be top dog on earth? The natural heir or the created creature? Y'all got it? The natural heir or the hybrid? Okay. The rigid social structures and societies that the hybrid troglodyte Paleolithic nigger has set up, as typified in England, according to the author, and India. And I can tell you, in India, it is very thick and real. Okay, y'all know I lived there for several months, and I got to experience it myself. All right, all of the street people sleeping on the street, and there were plenty. They were all dark complected, all dark complected. But anyway, it goes deeper than that. Y'all should know about the stratification of the society in England. If you don't, go back and search it, okay? That this should be associated with Capricorn serves to underline the sign's connection with lineage. In other words, if you're Genesis chapter 2, they want to do what? Deprive you of your inheritance. How do they do it? According to Deuteronomy 28, through bills of attainder, as cheating, hypothecation, etc. All right, look those words up in the Black's Law Dictionary if you don't know them. And then you correlate them with Deuteronomy 28. Okay, centralized authority. What's that centralized authority? That's Christianity. Y'all got it? The centralized authority is Christianity. And it's reached through nation states. Okay, nation states, right? It's affiliates, it's franchises. Let's continue. Convention, propriety, and social conformity. In other words, what do? They delete you. Remember, in the old days, they would delete you if you don't follow their system of morality, right? You don't do what they do. What do? They delete you, and then they come up with a good religious reason why they needed to, okay? If you are saying something they don't like, teaching something that they don't like, what do? They censor you or find a reason to lock you up, turn public opinion against you through the power of their religion, their clergy, their clerks, courts rather, so-called courts, right? Y'all remember how we went through this in the devil's pulpit? How through secret societies, the lawyers, the clergy, their court venues, corporate court venues, the physicians, everybody's in the same secret societies, and they're collaborating and working together as a team behind the scenes. Okay, we went through that through the devil's pulpit. Y'all go back and watch those videos. It should not be assumed from the foregoing that these are in any sense undesirable elements of human experience, even designating them the symbolic product of night forces, is in no sense meant to imply disapproval. Okay, well, this person must be a hybrid troglodyte, Paleolithic. His name is Bill, so it's a man. Must be a Paleolith. Okay, has to be on. He has to be a Paleolith because he's not on the receiving end of the BS, the receiving end of the torture and terrorism, in order to be able to make a statement like he just made. Let me read that again, y'all. If you agree with me, put something in the chat. It should not be assumed from the foregoing, that's the paragraph that we just read, that these are in any sense undesirable elements of human experience. Ain't that something? How about you be on the bottom of the barrel and have to struggle your way through life, regardless of how excellent or outstanding you are. All right, this is a very, very privileged, insensitive, immature thing to say, in my opinion. Even designating them, that is the rigid society, right? Now, y'all keep in mind, how did these rigid societies come in place? They were put in place through murder. They were put in place through murder. Okay, not just armies, but systematic murder. over centuries, not just by armies. Okay, that's how they put those institutions in place and how they maintain them until the people developed the mindset and accepted them. A lot of that was out of learned helplessness, where you just say, well, I can't do nothing about it, so I'm just gonna go with the flow. All right, and that is a conditioning process. That's a conditioning process whereby you are bombarded with something over and over and over again that's unrighteous, unjust, etc., until you just accept it, because there's nothing you can do about it, because you don't have the balls to stand up and say, this is not happening anymore. In other words, they make you into a coward by constantly showing you imagery on TV, on media, other forms of media, constantly playing it. This is why they put out all of these slave movies, y'all. This is why they constantly run on the news videos of our people being shot down, killed in the street, other forms of terrorism. They constantly show it because they're conditioning you to be helpless. It's learned helplessness. It's a psychic attack, so that when it happens, you accept it. It should not be assumed from the foregoing that these are in any sense undesirable elements of the human experience. No, it's not undesirable for the hybrid troglodyte Paleolithic niggers, because it keeps them in power with no or minimal fight back, with minimal resistance, even designating them the symbolic products of the night force. What is the night force? The night force is winter, right? Winter, December 22nd, 23rd. Okay? That's when the day, the number of daylight hours are at their minimal or minimum during the year. And nighttime hours are at its maximum. Okay, and we discussed this, I believe, in the last video, but we discussed it many, many times, y'all. During the winter, it's said to be a time of evil, wickedness, darkness, right? Because people do bad things in the dark and the animals are out. A lot of scary things are happening in the winter, all right? So this is why he's talking about the night force, okay? The night force, scary time, winter solstice. Even designating them, or this rigid society, right? This corporate government, okay? The Catholic Church, all the Christian religions and offshoots thereof, even designating them the symbolic product of the night force, is in no sense meant to imply disapproval. Okay, but they are the night force. They are evil. Hebrew Israelitism too. How about that? Yes, Hebrew Israelitism, followers of the New Testament, you can throw your hat in that bucket with the Pope. Ain't no difference from y'all, other than you use a few modern Hebrew words. Or some of y'all are trying to say some Ibaryath words, but ain't no difference, because you're still worshiping JC, the Christ figure, and the prophets, yes, and the prophets and Paul. All right? And you're in a dead state, okay? You're civilly dead, etc. Not going to go through that again. The collective dimension of life is not an option. We are called to live it whether we like it or not. And it is as well to remember that Capricorn's characteristics, when embodied in an individual, can contribute markedly to the collective good, as Gettings says. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the individual who's a Capricorn and the good personality attributes, excuse me, that people who are Capricorn have, the good that they do. Now, let's not think about every Capricorn. Let's focus right now on JC, the Christ figure, since he's a Capricorn. Excuse me, y'all. Capricorn may often appear rather dominating to those who do not like being controlled. All right? What happens if you don't believe in the Christ figure? What happens? All right, what are they teaching in Christianity? If you don't believe in the Christ figure, if you don't push, evangelize the Christ figure, what happens, y'all? Y'all know it. See, it's a fear tactic. It's a form of control. All right? Form of control. What happens if you leave one of these Christian religions? What do they do to you? They disfellowship you, excommunicate you, kick you out, however, whatever terminology that they want to use, they're going to humiliate you and ostracize you. It's a form of control, psychic attack that they package as being something that's done for the good of the person who they victimized. Capricorn. Capricorn may often appear dominating. Okay, you look at the activities of all the Christian organizations, Catholic, Baptist, all of them. Don't they come together in war? Don't they fight? Don't they come together during political, social issues? Don't they? Is that a true or false statement, y'all? Capricorn may often appear rather dominating to those who do not like being controlled. You don't do what the Christ figure says to do, you're going to burn in hell. Right, y'all? You don't follow the morality and Christianity pushed by Paul, you get kicked out and you're going to burn in hell. Your family and friends will disassociate themselves from you. Won't do anything for you, even if they see that you need help. Y'all got it? Dominating, dominating. Although they package it in a way for it to appear to be moral and ethical and for your own good, right? But the fact of the matter is, when these organizations kick you out, quite often it's because they want to silence you. It's a gag order. Okay, so whatever it is you may know that may help somebody else get out, they don't want them talking to you. All right? Let's continue. But someone has to shoulder life responsibilities. The Capricornian personality gives structure to the human world. Well, wait a minute now. There's more ways to get structure than through domination. So you can see the mindset of this Paleolithic author. Domination and structure have nothing to do with each other. Now, can some dominating organizations and people bring structure? Yes. But you don't have to be dominating in order to bring structure, right? Doesn't have to be that way. But we can see a lot into his personality, okay? There's no need to be dominating in order to bring structure. Structure comes through education and self-discipline, self-respect, following natural law. So I'm going to do what I want, but I'm going to stop doing the things that I want when it has the potential to harm you. Well, that adds structure. I don't need to be dominating to add structure in my life and in the lives of my family, community, and nation. No, I just need to respect myself and respect you. Follow the Most High's instructions, which are natural law. Capricorn is the force which prevents us all from being lost in mere anarchy. That's BS. That's garbage. That's not true. You do not need to have a dominating approach or dominate people in order to prevent anarchy. And y'all should look up the etymological meaning of anarchy. Go do that. It's going to surprise you. Look up the etymology of anarchy. Look up the meaning of anarchy, all right? Check that out. Okay? Capricorn is the force which prevents us from being lost in mere anarchy. It is not. In fact, I would say the dominating person, the dominating organization creates chaos, creates unrest, because nobody wants to be dominated. And people are going to respond to that, y'all, right? People want to be respected and acknowledged. So it's through natural law. It's through natural law that you achieve order in society, order in a family, order in a community, because I'm not going to harm you. And you're not going to harm me, however that harm might be. Okay, whether it is being dishonest in commerce or physical or trespass. Very easy, very simple. You don't need a moral ethical code for that. See, morality and ethics has been taught as being something that you use to make good decisions, okay? But that's not what it's used for at the level where it counts. Morality and ethics is used to create a story, to justify the evils that somebody might want to do to you and package it as something that's good for you, good for society. But in fact, is very harmful, injurious to you, or injurious to you. Y'all got it? These people, the Paleoliths, are word magicians. Go back and watch the videos I've done on that. They are word magicians. They use stories, plays, words, grammar rules to create meaning, although it is a lie, to create meaning in your mind so that they can manipulate and control you. If you haven't learned that yet, you need to watch more of my videos, all right? They are word magicians, magic, all right? They use magic, stories, written or on TV or in the cinema, stories, words, grammar rules. And that's how they got you psychologically, all right? Through their stories. And these stories are not just in religion, but the stories are also in law. Through plays. Let's continue. Capricorn is the force which prevents us all from being lost in mere anarchy, the great stabilizer in the world of man. This is a quote from Giddings, 1972, page 118. If that's not the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, I don't know what is. Okay? It is absolutely ridiculous, except from the point of view of a Paleolithic hybrid. Because this is their style to dominate, gain rulership over, subjugate, have in subjection. This is Genesis chapter 1. This is Genesis chapter 1, the commission that the genetic engineers gave to the hybrid kind of a man that they created. Okay? You'll note that in Genesis chapter 1, those first 3 verses, there are spirits coming up out of the water, disembodied spirits coming up out of the water. Okay, so who are we dealing with? Who is this commissioner who gave the commission? All right, are they Moors alone? Are they Moors with Raphaim? You decide. You think about that. You think about that. But this, my friend, is a whole bunch of BS. You do not need a dominating organization or personality to bring structure to society. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let me see, how many minutes in are we? I don't know how long we've been going yet. I want to keep the video short. So let me, give me one moment. I'm gonna wrap it up right now. Order and stability are essential to the proper management of any aspect of our life. And this is especially true of the spiritual life, which is intrinsically turbulent and which needs the support of tradition and the consolations of company. Well, I disagree with this fully. Order and stability are not essential to the proper management of any aspects of our lives. No, it is not. It is not. What do you need? You need a plan. You need to know in your mind what outcome you want, what result you want. You need to know how to focus your mind. What I mean by focus your mind, I'm talking about how you feel, your emotion. You need to focus on developing the skill to feel how you want to feel or how you will feel at the accomplishment of your outcome or goal. And you need to keep your mind focused on the outcome that you want, regardless of what's happening in the material world. Okay? And if you do that consistently, day in, day out, and you keep your mind on positive feelings, emotions, stay away from negative people, destructive people, and you'll achieve the goals you want in life. It's just a matter of time. These are the laws of consciousness, y'all. Okay? Of course, it helps if you have a plan. You get there further because you have actions that you're going to take every day. All right? Of course. Of course. But do you need order? No. You don't need order. You don't need a rigid do this and do that day in and day. No, you don't do that. Because sometimes you need to make a change at the drop of a dime, right? You examine your environment, you examine the results that you're getting, and then boom, you need to make a change. You meet somebody, you get an idea, boom, you make a change. No, you need to be flexible. You need to be like water. right? Water takes the form and shape of whatever it is poured into. Anyway, I totally disagree with this author. You don't need stability because sometimes, or quite often, it's the instability. It's the instability, the pain, the failure, the threat that causes the giant inside of you to awaken and do great things. All right. So this author, I completely disagree with this. Order and stability are essential to the proper management of any aspect of our life. That is absolutely not true. Commitment, dedication, managing your emotions, knowing your outcome, proper planning, and massive, frequent, and consistent action is what takes you places in life that you want to go. And this is especially true of our spiritual life. Well, what the heck is a spiritual life? I hate when people talk about spirituality. What is spirituality? You define it for me. Spirituality, is that breathing? Is that how you breathe? Or is this how you worship an external deity? What is spirituality? It's a broad, ambiguous term. I have no clue what people mean when they talk about spiritual life. What are you talking about? Worshiping something? Honoring something? I don't have a clue when I hear this phrase, this term, spiritual life. And this is especially true of the spiritual life, which is intrinsically turbulent. In other words, your spiritual life is full of ups and downs. What the heck does that mean? Where you go, where's your mind? Your mind should be right here in the now, right in the moment, not off in la la land, in the future. Your mind should be now. And if your mind is in the now, you're in reality. You're dealing with what is before you now, before your senses now. What you see now, what you hear now, what you smell now, what you taste now, what you feel now. That's all there is. That's all there is. The future hasn't happened. It's imaginary. The past is gone. It's also only a memory in the imagination. Okay? There is no spiritual life. There is only now, the glorious now. Stay here in the now. That's how you manage life. That's how you get what you want out of life, by being in the now. In the now. The now can be turbulent. That's a fact. But you're born with all of the tools and mental faculties that you need in order to think and do your way to the situation and circumstances in life that you decide. All right? Let this spiritual life and spiritual warfare that I hear y'all Hebrew Israelites and Christians talking about, let that go. No, if it's happening, it's because of your thinking. It's because of your doing. Okay? Your thinking, your doing. And these things you can control. When you keep this in mind, it keeps you accountable for you and you in the power position, because you can always rotate. You can always navigate to a better set of activities. Okay, you could always ask better questions and get better solutions for your next step. what's next? What do I do next? What do I do next? Whereas if you're in this spiritual warfare things, your mind is off in la la land, imagining this and imagining that. Stay in the now. This is how you stabilize and organize and manage your life and your family. In the now. Deal with now. Let's continue. However, it is our relationship to these structures that the Capricornian phase calls us to examine. We need to determine how far our commitment to spiritual authority. Y'all got that? Your commitment to spiritual authority. In other words, how much of your life are you going to let these people control? Huh? How much control are you going to continue to give these spiritual organizations and leaders? All right. Let me do it again. We need to determine how far our commitment to spiritual authority, church doctrines, charismatic figures, holy books, group memberships, and the like has affected our sense of self-reliance. So here he's kind of hinting at it, right? So you can't serve two masters. You either serve natural law, meaning you follow it, or you serve the corporate dead state through acknowledging, participating voluntarily or involuntarily in its organizations, its corporate structures. Y'all heard me? Let me see. Rose says, I agree. Eric the Scary says, thank you. This has helped ground me. My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. Anyway, y'all, let me continue. Appreciate your comments, and if I can do anything else for you guys, just let me know, okay? Just let me know. So let's continue. We need to determine how far our commitment to spiritual authority, in other words, husband, you're going to let that church leader tell you how to treat your wife, how to discipline your seed. Okay, you tell him how to, you let them tell you how to spend your finance. Okay, you let them tell you to continue tithing when you need that fiat for family purposes, or you and your woman are arguing about money, y'all need more, you're going to continue to give up that tithe? Y'all see what I'm saying? You can continue to do that? You let them tell you how to dress? Stress you out because of the way you wear your hair? Which ain't none of their business? Tell you the man you are in love with ain't no good and you should find somebody else? When he, the elder or priest, might be digging on you and ain't told you yet, but manipulating you, trying to break you up so he can get at you. Or worse, I've seen all of this, I've seen it all. Or worse, he's just trying to get on your side so he can get in your panties, like he's done so many times in the past. Church doctrines. Okay, church doctrines. Now, I have said, I presented to the people the project, the Zion Law School project, to write in Ibaryath and English the book of the law, where we'll remove all of these Isaiah chapter 8, verse 8 occurrences, all of the deception, all of the injections, the errors. We're going to remove them. See, many people don't know. Most people think that the Bible is the preserved word of capital G-O-D, 100%. But what y'all don't realize is that there's a process used by translators whereby they determine what they're going to write in a verse. Sometimes it can be close to the Ibaryath meaning, the original meaning, or sometimes it can be far away, or sometimes it can have absolutely nothing to do with it. They'll throw a word in there or a verse in there to support a doctrine. And unbeknownst to you, you read that fake, fictitious verse and you believe the doctrine. Because you have no choice. Because that translator, when you look at this, now don't be offended. Some of y'all might be offended by this, but the translator has become the deity. Because you are living your life and worshiping based upon the translator, based upon the translation, when it is in fact the work of men who make conscious, deliberate decisions about how to render every word and verse. So who, my friend, are you worshiping? Your translator or your deity? This is the problem. This is the problem with us reading their material. It is meant to empower them, not you. It is meant to empower them, not you, not us. And I showed this day in and day out in our 506 The Curses course. The link is in the description area of this video. Y'all welcome to come. You can come a couple classes for free. It ain't expensive. The 101 Ancient Ibaryath class that gives you the basic introductory information about the original language that the book of the law was written in, that's also not expensive. It's $10 a month subscription. Cancel anytime. This is a problem. So you're committed to church doctrine that's working against you, that has been designed to work against you, because you are innocent like a child. You don't know anything. I'm not saying that to be mean, but that's the fact. You don't know anything about how these translations are produced. So we need our own. I've reached out to people to participate in that with me, right? All right. I think it's necessary to have alternative views as a footnote, okay, in this book that I'm publishing. But I need your support in order to do this. You know, I can't do it living off of soy sauce and rice. This is a big, big effort, all right? So I need financial support in order to do it. And I hope y'all understand that. That should be obvious, right? And at what point does a man and a woman realize that you've got to support financially to develop your own institutions, whether you like the person or not, whether you like me or not, or whether you're jealous of me or not, or whether you hate me because of the work that I do, is still for the nation. All right. So are you operating in your higher self or your lower self? Don't come judging my personality when you don't know me, judging me in a negative way, because I speak with power. And because I'm an educated man. No, I'm not a fool. No, I'm not ignorant. Yes, I spent decades educating myself. Yes, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars educating myself. And yes, I am proud to be the man that I am, to have suffered and triumphed in the ways that I have in my life, which is my business. Charismatic figures like your camp leader who tells you stay away from DrYasapa, like your pastor, your reverend, your rabbi who tells you, oh, you don't need to know the original language. You don't need to know nothing. That's not going to help you. You don't need to know it. All you need to know is modern Hebrew, is biblical Hebrew. See the foolishness of that? Holy books. To the reading of many books, there is no end. Group memberships and the like has affected our sense of self-reliance. See, if you're not depending on any of those things, you are 100% reliant on yourself. If you come to Zion Law School, you learn how to translate these records on your own. You become 100% reliant on yourself. You don't need a pastor. This is how it is meant to be. You, 100% reliant on yourself, not your church, not your Hebrew Israelite camp, assembly, mosque, whatever. You. This is nature. That's natural law. Let's continue. How far we have turned over our spiritual life to the regulation of some outside agency or other, so that we may be spared the problems associated with thinking for ourselves. Now, I agree with him on that. That might be his most powerful statement right there. Let me read it again. How far we have turned over our spiritual life to a camp, a church, a mosque, a synagogue, a cult, a kingdom hall. So that we may be spared the problems associated with thinking for ourselves. That's right, y'all. He said a mouthful right there, right? People do that so that they don't have to think for themselves. They're not responsible to think for themselves. Why? Not because thinking is so difficult. No, thinking is not difficult. You've been trained not to think. You've been trained since, you've been indoctrinated since birth not to think. Therefore, when you start to think, or when you're put in a situation where you have to think, it feels uncomfortable. It feels like work. That is due to your training, through your indoctrination, through the intentional indoctrination of you and your generations by the Catholic Church and its affiliates, its nation states, the public school system. All of these are one. This is unum sanctum, unum sanctum. And you are out of your mind. You've been hit in the head. You don't remember it. So wake up. Stop trusting your enemies. You have enemies. Deuteronomy 28 tells you that. The tragedy of the religious life, y'all got that? The tragedy of the religious life. The religious life is that it fosters dependence upon an intermediary. Y'all got that? You become dependent on your religious leaders. You become dependent upon your religious leader. Y'all dependent upon the translation of the Bible that you use. You're dependent upon the translation of the Bible that you use. If you understand that, you're dependent on what these translators tell you. And they're not going to help you because they are enriching themselves through these documents and have done so for generations, shamelessly at your expense. The tragedy of the religious life is that it fosters dependence upon an intermediary. In Christianity, who is your intermediary? This is JC, the Christ figure. You're dependent on JC, the Christ figure. So you're dependent at all levels. You're dependent on your church leader, your camp leader, your Hebrew Israelite leader, your spiritual advisor. All of this garbage. Says Dane Rutyer on page 78. And the challenge of the Capricorn is to develop a sense of spiritual self-determination so that whether inside or outside of a recognized group, we may relinquish our need to place others between ourselves and the divine. How about that? Does that sound like what the Pope said? What did the Pope say? The Pope said that the Catholic Church is the vicar, or that the Pope is the vicar of Christ. Right? All wombs, man, mankind, and animals belong to the church. All land, all peoples belong to the Catholic Church. Y'all better go read Unum Sanctum. Better go read the Doctrine of Discovery. Manifest Destiny. And then you go back and you look at Deuteronomy chapter 28, I believe it's verse 20. In the Ibaryath, it tells you that our enemies will use public policy and their legal system to harass us. Especially, it says especially through suit. Okay? Bills of attainder, hypothecation, SG, so on and so forth. All right? Make you a corporate entity. That's it. That's all I got, y'all. I'm Dr. DrYasapa from Zion Law School. If you want to read my books, links are in the description area of this video. If you want to learn, now let me tell y'all, I teach Ancient Ibaryath. This is the original language that the Hebrew scriptures were written in. This is what our ancestors spoke and wrote. Okay, that's what I do. That's my expertise. So if y'all want to support me, go out and buy my books on zionlawschool.org. Don't buy them on Amazon or any other online store. Buy them from my website, okay? The reason is because they take too much money, okay? If you want to send a donation to support the project, to write the book of the law in English, an honest copy that's going to show you what it actually says in the Ibaryath, then y'all support me. Y'all get behind me and support me so that I can get all of the things that I need to have in order to write that. It's not something I can do over a weekend or over a couple months. This is a big project, y'all, and I need your support to do it. We need it. If y'all don't do it, it's your voluntary, listen to me, it is your voluntary acceptance, your voluntary consent to slavery, to mental slavery, bondage, and oppression. Okay, these books have been used to put you in and keep you in the impoverished state that you're in now, the curses, okay, keeps you there. So we need our own, we need to correct, remove all of the Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences, all right? So if y'all don't support this, you are voluntarily consenting to the continuation of your condition now as it is, all right? Stand up, man and woman. Stand up more, Yasharala man and woman. Support this project. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. That's all I got for y'all.